Did you get the thing?
Yes, I got the thing.
Feed the dog?
Yes, I fed the dog.
Did you download the episode?
Yes, I downloaded the episode. What's up with the questions? Can we just go, please?
Permit me here and now to promise as a good comrade and a fellow artist that I will not report any of this, whatever it is, to the police.
Welcome to Abandoned Albums, the documentary podcast. Each week, our intrepid group of researchers and archivists sift through the album crates of the world, finding those records that may have been lost over time. Our team also seeks out up-and-coming artists with work we feel you should know about. When we're lucky enough, the artists swing by Thunderlove Studio to chat with our hosts Keith R. Higgins and Jeff Calhoun about those albums and their careers as a whole. Sit back, relax, and thank you for joining us.
On this episode, Jeff and Keith welcome Dan Lord and Adam Guthrie from the band Salvo into Thunderlove Studio. This band rose from the ashes of the mid-90s favorite pop-punk, punk rock, just don't call them ska band Pain. That band released 4 albums before going on an indefinite hiatus as frontman Lord pursued a different calling. While Dan veered off the rock and roll highway, he never stopped writing songs. And after reconnecting with Adam, the two decided the new songs were best suited as Pain songs. However, since it wasn't the original lineup, the two decided to call the new band Salvo. These songs were recorded and released on the album Off the Charts in 2019. In August of 2022, Salvo released the album The Traveler and is getting ready to release an all-acoustic album of your favorite Pain songs. There is so much more to their story, so let's let the boys get to it. Here is Keith and Jeff chatting it up with Dan and Adam of Salvo.
It's just the normal noises in here.
Nice to meet you, Adam.
Hey, Keith, how are you?
Good, thank you. I'm good.
Thanks for doing this, guys. I'm curious as to what we're doing. I'm sorry. I like this is the only podcast music podcast you'll ever need.
Yeah, well, that's the hope.
That's all. Yeah.
Yeah. So the title of the podcast is a little misleading. It's how we started with. Keith had a connection to somebody that was a sort of a desert island album for him. Yeah. And he was like, whatever happened to this? Like, where did this album go? And he kind of hunted the story down and did a great episode. And so now we're just looking for really any artist that we can lift up and celebrate the whole career.
Wow.
I do want to say one thing about the tagline, the only music podcast that matters. Nobody gets that reference. It's very disappointing to me. The Clash was marketed as the only band that matters.
Oh my gosh. My father he worked at a bank and he came up with the slogan, Troy Bank and Trust, the only bank you'll ever need. And I got my friend that had a cold sore at the time to be the picture, the poster boy for it. He had a hard time that year in college. It was great. What Dave isn't telling you. Well, he's kind of telling everybody now, isn't he? You know? Yeah. I know he was at my apartment in Tuscaloosa, flew home on his bike to Troy, Alabama to get that picture taken. And all these people, some old lady, you know, this little kid, the only bank you'll ever need. And then the picture they held up at Harvey's bar was Dave with Everything you'll ever need. That was so great. He was a lonely soul for a while.
That's
man,
in that town.
So Keith, we are waiting on Dan to join us.
Okay.
Okay.
My understanding is that Dan will be on shortly.
Okay.
But I've full confession. Adam and I have known one another. 25 years, maybe
6 months, 25 years,
something like that. We go way, way back. Listening back to a lot of the Pain stuff, I gotta say, kids these days have got it so good.
Yeah.
One of the draws of your music is that Dan is a singular voice, a unique lyricist, constantly telling these great and fairly robust narrative stories in the songs. Kids these days, when they're listening to your music, they're listening on Spotify and the lyrics are just scrolling past them. They can read along as you're listening.
Get off my lawn.
Back in our day, we had to figure out what the fuck is a Cocomentritarius.
What is anything? I had to figure out a lot of stuff. That I learned a lot of words. My vocabulary increased, and now I put them in all the wrong places now. Yeah, and there's a lot of words in our songs too, and it's fighting with a Marshall in the horn section. So to be able to read this stuff, I'm still amazed by the stuff we do now. I'm going, oh, so it's not about. I've come up with my own lyrics sometimes. I really thought the song "Anything Can Happen" Day off our Traveler album at Salvo was about a golden robot with our silver robot in the sky. It's a silver rope. There's Dan.
Hi, Dan.
Hey, everybody.
Hey,
Hello,
Dan.
hello.
Let me put names to face. So that's Jeff, and that's Keith. Okay.
Hi.
All right. Hey, thanks, fellas, for having us on. We appreciate it.
Thanks for being here. This is great.
This is an honor for us. Thank you.
Keith, please meet Dan Lord, vocalist, author, overall rambunctious frontman for Pain and Salvo. We were just reminiscing about the memorial toilet from the Chucker.
Oh my
Jason,
gosh.
the memorial toilet plaque. We'll give a shout out for that later. I think see if we can retrieve that from somebody, buddy.
That is, I'm amazed at the legendary status that toilet is a key.
It lives on 25 years later. In a recent episode, we had the good fortune of having Karina Denicky on, who was in the band Dancehall Crashers. And
okay, yeah.
Dancehall Crashers were part of that punk ska crossover thing that was happening in the late 90s that, whether it was fair or not, Pain got associated with. I'm not going to say lumped in, but you were associated with that.
Yeah,
but I've actually seen you pop up on some ska playlists. I never considered you a ska band.
We really laughed about that association for a long time. I once wrote I didn't mean for it to sound abrasive. I really didn't. It was kind of a quasi rant, I wrote something for some article, maybe it was a blog post, but and that apparently has gotten passed around, and there are people who would approach me in particular and say, "Oh my gosh, man, I hate to, I don't mean to like insult you or anything, but we did always kind of think you were sort of like a ska band." And I always have to rush to say, we really don't care that much. It's okay. We know lots of great ska people, great ska bands. It's a fine form of music. We don't mind being associated with it, right, Adam? We can say that now.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, and if these ska bands want to give us shout outs, that sounds great.
Yeah. So, but you're right. I mean, I never thought of us as a ska band. I mean, that's really not our influences, I mean, not for Adam. It never was for Pose or me. I mean, we always liked it, but we were coming from kind of a different place,
Johnny, some kids on the show yesterday mentioned a new kind of music, ska. You know anything about it?
Nothing but a modern offshoot of reggae. Updated white rock influences. Definitely upbeat. It'll never become really popular because even though they've made the backbeat more conventional, it's still too exotic for mass acceptance.
You used the horn section. I found myself bopping around the house, and it's always the horn line that I'm humming. Right, if I'm humming along with the song, right? So you were finding ways to make the hooks in the horn lines, and you know, just because you had a horn section doesn't mean you're ska, right? Like,
right? Oh yeah. Well, I mean, for us, the big case in point at the time they were starting, like big heroes of ours was Oingo Boingo, and man, like Elfman used his horns so expertly. And it just sounded cool. It never sounded ska-like, even though he could have songs like "Who Do You Want to Be Today" by Oingo Boingo. You know that song? It's such a great anthem song, and that could easily be classified somewhere within the world of ska. You know, but we never thought of it that way. It was just this cool, driving, horn-driven song. You know?
Yeah. So I want to regale you with a personal story before we get into tracing the career and story arc of Payne into Salvo. And that is, I was fortunate enough to play several gigs with Payne back in the day. And I had a really supportive dad. And my father grew to love your band so much. And
that's cool.
Never forget getting a call from him on the road. He and I both, we worked at the same company. We traveled a lot together. He calls me from New York. He says, I'm in a record store here in New York City. And I went up to the counter and I said, is this Payne? And the guy in the record store, you could have knocked him over with a feather. He was so blown away that here's this dude that just walks in and is like, oh, I recognize this band. I know this band. And then he had to confess, like, oh, I'm from Alabama, and they're from Alabama, and put the whole thing together. But he was blown away that your music had that far of a reach and that much. And I was like, oh, yeah, they're actually meeting with quite a lot of success.
It's cool. I don't know. I like our success kind of went out like a scatter shot. You know what I mean? It didn't blink at the earth, but it went far and wide and landed in little like seed pods and in Invasion of the Body Snatchers. Just kind of sprinkled all over the place, and we find them popping up in unexpected places. Gosh, Adam, did you see that message from that dude Alessandro
from Italy?
Yeah, from Italy. We had no idea that Italy even existed anymore, and yet it's still there.
Come on now,
dude is there, and he's been listening. He's been listening to us for decades.
He has a Payne coffee mug with a dance drawing.
Just a really super great guy, and he just contacted us. He himself is a musician, and he wanted to use One-Legged Girl. Like little pieces of it, kind of doing homage to it in a song he's working on, and of course we said yes because that's awesome.
I want you to rest well, and a month from now, this Hollywood big shot's gonna give you what you want.
It's too late. They start shooting in a week.
I'm gonna make him an offer he can't refuse.
Did I insult Italy? I didn't mean it. I love Italy.
Well, you didn't know it existed. How could you insult it?
No, but that was a wonderful thing to see this morning. Come through at
it was.
like 2:22 in the morning.
Yeah, really cool.
Was someone so positive.
Yeah,
it's been there for, like I said, 25 years.
So the Italy story is wonderful, and I think representative of how many people you touched. It just recently I saw, and I think it was on your Facebook page. You posted a cartoon, like a comic strip style cartoon of the song Futz Said Julie.
Suddenly looking up and seeing for the first one we said is too low on gas to get 3 feet above the grass. And Julie said, but said Julie, but to run until my return. The definition of butts was something we had yet to learn. But we tried to do it anyway, 'cause Julie will do anything you say.
Wasn't that song about building a rocket ship? And who was Julie? I now have this ongoing conversation with my wife, and you can settle this for us.
Cool.
I always speculated that Julie in that song was the babysitter, and you guys were like, we'll do anything Julie says because we like Julie. and I think she comes at it she's like, no, I think it was just like a girl they had a crush on. So who is Julie?
We have had babysitters in our songs before, haven't we, Dan?
Yeah, but that's not her.
That's not. This is a different one.
Different one. The gosh, I was going to make a vile joke about how she's really like a prostitute or something, but I'm not going to do that. I retract all that, and instead, the truth is actually not far off from both of those. I mean, either way, it was somebody that we were very fond of. Actually, someone who helped us when Payne was first trying to branch out into the West Coast more. She was just this fantastic person who helped us book some shows, right? And the thing is, it was more than just she functioned as a booking agent. I mean, she didn't have to. She wasn't making bags of money off of it. She threw open the doors of her house to us to let the band stay there. She was just this incredibly generous person. Matter of fact, recently Adam tried to get in touch with her when we went out to that most recent West Coast tour to try and get her to we just wanted to see her again. And she couldn't make it. She had to go to a wedding or something. But anyway, the point is she's just this wonderful person. And so, and I thought, my gosh, not only is she a wonderful person, but Payne has this following of people who are just the best fans on earth. They're just all super supportive and generous. They do so much for us. They kind of like pick us up and move us on down the road, you know? They're so cool. And so I thought Julie could be kind of emblematic of all our fans. We just wanted to do a song that was an homage to all of these wonderful people who support us. That's really what it's all about. Does that make sense?
Yes, it's awesome.
When we contacted Julie recently, when we did our Salvo acoustic out west, Julie said she couldn't make it to the performance where she was, but she did find 3 other places for us to play.
Yeah, God, right, exactly.
30 years, you know, yeah.
You know, because if it had just been up to Adam and I, we would have ended up in the ocean.
Yeah, exactly. Looking for a guarantee.
So we would just rely on all these people, and they just, I don't know. I wish I could be as nice as people like Julie, but I'm not. So she would never make a derogatory joke about an entire nation of Italy.
I don't even know the woman, and I could probably get on board with that. Yeah.
Right.
So Dan, I was kind of bemoaning before you jumped on. Kids these days, I say with a raised fist towards the sky.
Listen, old man, you don't want to fuck with me. Did you hear me? I said get off my lawn now. Are you fucking crazy? Go back in the house. Yeah, I blow a hole in your face and then I go in the house and I sleep like a baby. You can count on that.
If I'm on Spotify or some of these other Apple Music, any of these, the lyrics are just scrolling past me as I listen along. Isn't that nice? Where back in the day, we're like, "Oh, I hope there's some liner notes for the new Payne album because otherwise, we're gonna have to figure it out." And I'm sure many fans have had wild debates because you are a what's the word? Verbose.
That's the word.
That's the word. Yay! I got it right. You're a prolific lyricist. You write a lot of words in the songs and tell big stories.
Yeah, maybe too many. I've been told that. Just too many words.
That's disappointing to hear.
I've told myself that many times. Because then years later, when I'm trying to remember the song, I can't do it anymore. It's a lot of hard work.
Yeah.
We speed them up.
We
speed them up like, oh, that's how it goes now.
That's true. That's true. Well, yeah, Adam and I are still kind of, when we're considering like a new Salvo EP or LP or something, we get it all excited talking about the liner notes. And I think we both forget that I don't think that's as important to a lot of people as it is to us. I don't know. I've always, as a music fan, I love to get a new album and then sit there and pore over the liner notes and like look at the names of the musicians and what they played exactly and what all the lyrics are. I love that stuff.
Liner notes when we were growing up were like our Wikipedia.
Yeah.
All right, this person did this. All right, they're also on this. They produced this.
You could truly find out some really, really like secret information that if just by looking at some tiny corner of the liner notes, you know what I mean? Like, whoa, that guy, I know him. He played trumpet in that band or something like that. You know?
I think all of our liner notes from now on are going to be in comic book form or comic book zine form. That's how we're going to be able to sell the liner notes, you know, because people didn't know how many guitars were brought in the studio and how many floor toms were used at all times.
There are people out there like me who would enjoy that.
Yeah, I need photos of that.
It was always so, like when we did the first Salvo album, it was so fun because I don't know if you fellas know this, but Adam Guthrie can play anything if it has strings on it. And he does. I mean, he finds the most obscure stringed instruments and will like compose a song on them or sing it. You know,
harp over here.
And exactly right. And so it's so fun, like in the liner notes, to just type out all the various stringed instruments that Adam Guthrie plays on any particular album. It's just always fun. I don't know. I love that stuff.
Banjo, ukulele.
Yeah.
Oh my God. Balalaika.
But I love them.
But do you own a cigar box guitar?
I have a Guinness can guitar, a one string.
Oh,
Guinness can guitar. I play slide with that. I run it through a fuzz pedal, and for about 30 seconds, have a lot of fun.
Did that make it into the liner notes?
That was not used. That was not.
It will be. Yet.
Yeah.
Yet.
Right.
Yet. There's always yet.
Pain was a band that the energy of the live show. Keith, I want you to picture, if you will, my friend Dan Lord.
All I thought was Prince when you did that.
dig if you will, a picture. Hauling this oversized, probably 8 foot tall cardboard dummy out on stage as the band performs the song titled Fight.
Drinking my beer on the floor, surrounded by people I mostly abhor, wanting more. And so the night goes, a lot of beer flows. What can a guy do to make it right? And then abruptly, my pair of eyes see a pair of guys get into a fight. When you think you break the ice and make the whole night better, everybody loves to fight. Everybody loves to fight. I'll squash you like a bird.
Everybody loves a fight.
Fight.
And in the crescendo of the song, my friend Dan Lord chucks this cardboard dummy into the crowd where it is systemically dismembered.
Well done.
To the joy of all in attendance. There was never, to me anyway, there was never a down Pain gig.
Okay.
I didn't hear a question. Was that difficult to sustain?
Oh no.
No. It was kind of a fun. It became this sort of fun ritual for me. Wherever we go, we'd end up whatever bar or club or bowling alley where we're playing, I would sort of make it a pre-show ritual to just go around and, collect garbage and refuse boxes, whatever, and just see what I could make with whatever I had on hand, with duct tape and all that stuff, and just so it was fun. I don't think it ever got old. I never thought, I got to make another one of these damn things. I never came to that point. It was always fun because I guess because I knew how much people appreciated it once we worked it into the show. They just always welcomed it and welcomed destroying it. I don't know. It was cool.
Yeah.
See that much just carnage left on the floor, and how they're just things torn apart, and was so violent when it was not ill spirit, it wasn't.
It was great. It was great to watch from the stage, just send it out there, and then watch it go.
It sounds like it was more of an energy release than violent.
It was,
yeah. That's kind of how we always thought of it, and it really is. I think it's just, I think it's just a good thing. It's a good nod to human nature. You know what I mean? Like if you can give them something to focus their destructive powers on, it can turn into a good thing.
You're talking about looking at it from the stage. We did a New Year's Eve Salvo. We had 2 trombonists, had our Jason Reed, and we had the man that played on Midgets with Guns came to sit in with us, DeMondre Thurman. And I'm watching a video of Fight from that night when we played the New Year's Eve gig. And when it goes in, everybody's tearing the monkey apart and doing all that stuff. DeMondre's holding up. The rest of the horn players are playing, and DeMondre holds his phone up. And goes all of it, and it goes back to playing. But it's like, I've got to get this on. I've got to get this. I got to capture this.
That's so fun.
But that still happened.
I guess we can call the very first album an abandoned album because you really can't find Goggins anywhere. It's not streaming.
Oh yeah,
right.
And speaking of reading the liner notes and discovering nuggets, I remember reading the liner notes of Goggins and thinking, they recorded this with the same dude that records Man or Astro Man. That's so cool.
Yeah. That's how we got hip to him. At that point we already had a little burgeoning friendship with Man or Astro Man, and they're the ones who got us hip to Jim Marr in Elmore, Alabama. Zero Return Studios, and gosh, we went on to form a lasting friendship with that guy too. He's fantastic, great guy. And just he really helped us. He helped me personally, really. I mean, I cut my teeth on the world of recording and mixing at his studio, and it was not much to look at. It was kind of like this ramshackle place way out in Elmore by some railroad tracks, but man, it was cool. It was a great experience. I mean, right, Adam?
Oh yeah. No, I mean, for me, imagine a guy loving so much your band and hating your guitar player's guitar tone so much that he gives the guitar player a free amplifier. No. I mean, for all practical purposes, it was, for what I paid for. I mean, Jim was like, I hate what your sound for 3 albums. Use this, and he was right. And it's right there in the corner of my room right now. I still use that. So yeah, I owe Jim big. He was the one. Well, we could talk about him all day. Well, we should talk about him all day. There's so much good stuff. One of the guys that said, what's that fader for, right? Dan's like, what's on that fader right there? Well, there's an instrument. Well, why can't I hear it? Well, if it's not being heard, it should be used or make it be heard or something like that. Wow, that went nowhere. I'm sorry. That was going to be some wisdom from Jim Moore, and I totally blew it. Yeah, get everything in the mix and get it well placed.
I want to know how you got involved with Cartoon Network. Let's talk about Jabberjaw.
I remember that as a cartoon as a kid.
Oh, that's
there
a good
you
idea.
go.
That's a great
Yeah.
Yeah.
And it was right at the height of Jaws, I think.
Yeah. You know, like Scooby-Doo had been on this big popular run for years. I mean, that was like Saturday morning fodder, right? And so Scooby-Doo was popular. And then I think at some point then, you're right, after Jaws, they just tried to marry those two cultural phenomenons, you know, Jaws and Scooby-Doo. And so the world now suddenly had this shark detective that spoke like Moe of the Three Stooges. And
Me and my friends get no respect. What does Scooby do that we neglect? We be putting all our foes in check, but me and my friends get no respect. So what? Who cares? We're doing it how we like. I'm singing into my mic, a special underwater mic. Who's gonna save the world? Who's gonna save the day? Who may have crackers feeling eerie with you? Who's gonna talk like girlies and Curly isn't here? Who's gonna chase down villains and then turn around and run in fear? You know who I'm talking about, he's fat and short on brains and I'm not me, Captain Kid, and I'm me,
I don't get no respect. Jabberjaw!
I was always a little confused by the whole show when I was a kid, you know, slightly confused. I would watch it, but I was always with this slightly perplexed look on my face.
Yeah.
But I mean, you know, there you go. So that was background to our childhood. And then later, you know, as Cartoon Network, you know, years and years down the road, as Cartoon Network really began to take off, part of what they did, remember, was to sort of preserve and rebroadcast a lot of those cartoons from the 70s, right? Like Jabberjaw. And so they're trying to resuscitate them and just kind of push them to new generations of kids. And so somebody there came up with the idea that, and it wasn't just for Jabberjaw, it was some like the other Hanna-Barbera 1970s style cartoons. They were coming up with little trailers and commercials, tailored to those particular shows, but they were supposed to be hip and cool and now and all that, right? And so they wanted to create a commercial for Jabberjaw, like a trailer to push on Cartoon Network to say, okay, hey, you should watch these reruns of Jabberjaw that we're about to start airing, right? And so they already there were people within Cartoon Network, certain people who are still friends to this day, who were already paying fans, and they were of sufficient age to be employed at Cartoon Network and to be kind of the trendsetters, right? And so they already knew about us, so they approached us and they said, "Hey, we've been assigned to do this trailer for Cartoon Network, and we thought maybe you could write the song." And really, it was, I must say, it was really cool. We were, you know, I know Pose and I in particular, we always proceeded with, I think, a fair amount of. I mean, I don't think we were weird about it, but we were always a little hesitant of like record labels and anything that seemed like too much like big corporate involvement, you know. We were trying to stay as independent as we could, you know. And so we were a little dubious, but it seemed like a pretty cool idea, and they were going to pay us, you know, so that was good, which we weren't used to. And so they approached us with this idea, and it sounded cool. And so, frankly, I went home. Adam, have I ever told you that? I think I went home. I was like that day or the next day, and that song. I mean, I wrote it really quick. I mean, some songs, you know, you like labor on for months and years. You know what I mean? But that one just popped right out. And so we were able to put it together pretty quickly. What am I forgetting, Adam? Is that right?
We recorded it with Jim Marr at Zero Return Studios in Elmore, Alabama.
Yeah.
I think we should give a shout out to Steve.
Hey, tell him the Fader story.
The Fader story? Oh, it gets even better. So this one time. That's what I can answer.
He's gonna end up squirting water out his nose or something.
No, but I thought
and animal crackers.
I thought you wrote 2 songs for that. I thought you wrote another one that said, "Oh, that sounds," and you end up becoming White Recluse with different lyrics at one point.
Gosh, did I? I forgot about that.
You mentioned something about Boris and Natasha and the moose and squirrel or something like that. Now this might be part of the Fader story too, as far as what I remember. But yeah, we were that, and they did the thing. They tried to make Jabberjaw and Curly look cool with a good nose ring and a goatee on a shark. And
right.
And we none of us had
the little teen detectives who are part of the team, like the equivalent of Shaggy and Velma and all that, it's like the Jabberjaw equivalent. The
Neptunes.
Yeah, they look real hip and cool. And
they had a band though. They had a band on the show, Jabberjaw. Yeah. So when they animated it, they made us, the band. We were our licenses with the Jabberjaw Neptune band and stuff like that. And,
yeah.
And we continue our theme of having bands on the podcast who have been animated into television shows.
Yeah.
Really? Oh, fun.
Yeah.
Here's
so
one.
That was probably like way more information than you wanted on that.
No, this is apropos of nothing, but I don't. Anyone think Hong Kong Phooey could ever make a comeback? Do you guys remember?
I loved it. That was a good one. And even though I kind of take a jab at Captain Caveman in Jabberjaw, I like Captain Caveman too.
The best.
Yeah, right. It was so good.
Captain Caveman.
And he had like the club that would like
launch him.
It's very Thor. Yeah.
Yeah, it was.
Get off my wavelength, Guthrie.
It's wild. That song. That song. We were done, and people. We just got back from a tour where the people that we toured with that helped us put the tour together. Like we were 9. They told us they were 9 and 10 years old when that song was aired. So that's a whole new generation of people that we were fairly unaware that they found us through Jabberjaw years later.
Yeah, we wouldn't have guessed that then. When we did it then, it was like, well, this is a cool little side thing, and we'll just crank out a song and and then move on to doing more important things.
Now it's maybe we should learn Jabberjaw, guys. Apparently, people know us for that song, and and it's just fun.
It's just the real power of music, right? It just it goes to these fictional countries, Italy.
Right.
And it's funny to think back now where the moments of our childhood that you capture in song, like talking about Aladdin's Castle arcade, right? And going just feeding quarters into Aladdin's Castle and Bottle Rocket Wars, right? Like, I wonder if kids have Bottle Rocket Wars nowadays.
They are missing out.
They're totally
they are missing out. I think you're right. They're missing out because that was that was awesome. That was a really cool thing to do with your time.
It really was.
Man, that's so dangerous.
So wildly dangerous.
So dangerous. So totally inappropriate. I can't recommend it highly enough.
I had a bottle rocket war on a golf course once, and when they ran out of bottle rockets, they started throwing golf balls at night. Driving. So if you're going to be in a golf, if you think it's a good idea to play a bottle rocket on a golf course to get back at people, don't do it in a driving range. Your friends will turn on you milk rats.
Or you'll discover who your real friends are.
Yeah, none of them. Yeah. Yeah, look at Richie Rich on the golf course. Bam! Yeah.
Oh man. So I mentioned Dancehall Crashers, and she talked about that band transitioned away from a horn section. They found that touring with a horn section and having 8 mouths to feed in the band was unsustainable. And so they eventually went guitar, bass, vocal, and slimmed the band down to a 5-piece.
Yeah.
Did having 8-9 people in your entourage become too difficult to bear?
No. We, I mean,
we never thought of cutting anybody.
I don't know. It's kind of like, a good way to compare it is like, I myself, I mean, personally, Dan Lord, was raised in a big family, right? Bunch of kids, big old giant household, just actually not a big old giant household, like a big old bunch of human beings in this one house, right? But when you're raised in that environment, it doesn't occur to you. You don't look around and go, damn, there are too many people in this place. You don't come to that conclusion. It's just what you know what I mean? Yeah. And I kind of think it was the same way with Pain. It just didn't occur to us. It's just simply, you just looked around and these were your people and you loved them even when you were driving each other crazy. And it was just this big fun thing. It never occurred to you to say, we really need to get rid of him and him. It just didn't, that wasn't the way we thought.
The instrumentation seemed essential, and just, just working with people, it never crossed our minds.
Yeah. I mean, don't get me wrong. There's plenty of in-house antagonism going on at all times. Lots of running, sarcastic motifs, particular objects of ridicule. That we had that going on, but I think it was always within a context of love.
2 miles.
Explain that, Adam. Explain 2 miles.
Some people can't speak for 2 miles from the band.
Now that sounds like a family rule right there.
Yeah, exactly.
Just when somebody's really getting going too, and 2 miles.
Yep.
Sausages get thrown out the windows, all kinds of craziness happens, madness.
Right.
Yeah, there's stuff like that. But I mean, the fact that we'll get to probably, but I mean, Pain and becoming Salvo, that we called these guys back and they came back, and to fight the 2 mile rule again, and so.
But I remember in your hometown of Tuscaloosa, Alabama, when Pain called it quits, the rumors as to why it was were fucking wild. Right? Dan has decided to leave society altogether and join this priesthood and become a monk. Was the maybe the wildest one.
Well, that's the one that's true.
I had kids in Mississippi.
Yes.
I didn't leave them there, but apparently I ended up there too. Apparently, I did play in a country band. Yeah, that part was true. Yeah, but there was some crazy stuff there.
Let's lean into that, Dan. That seems like a major decision.
I just glossed over it now. I totally glossed over this now at this point. Yeah, okay.
Yeah.
Story, yeah. And then
I was kind of hoping we would find out more about Adam's kids in Mississippi.
Yeah, I'm curious about them too.
Sure, we can come back to this.
They could use a hug.
How does that happen? How do you go from being the front man of this ridiculously high energy band to saying, I think I want to join the priesthood?
Jason Reed thought it was a lateral move. Said, Dad's got this guilt. He lives off $20 a year. Really, it's a lateral move. Yeah.
Right. Wow. I don't know. I like to think that I'm the kind of person who follows his heart, and like if I've decided that something is right, I'm pretty good at taking all the normal, logical, rational kind of thinking that other people might use. I'm pretty good at taking that, just throwing it away, and saying, no. Those arguments don't apply here because this is the right thing to do, so I'm going to do it. And that seemed like the right thing to do. And Adam, you may like reach through the screen and punch me. I don't know, but I mean I don't regret doing it. You know, I felt a big call to, because in a lot of ways, I don't want to like get all super serious and deep here, but like in a lot of ways, I was starting to feel very lost, and I was losing a sense of myself. You know, and then I felt this really strong call that I needed to go and find a way to live my life that was specifically geared to other people. You know, I don't think I realized how much, like as I was approaching 30, you know, even though I'm in pain and pain is going well, and I'm enjoying so much what we do in pain, that at the same time, it was turning into this kind of black hole in me where it's like, now that's all I'm thinking about. That's all I'm thinking about. That's all I'm doing. It's all about me. How can I get me to become even greater and more powerful and more wonderful? How can we expand this into an empire of Dan Lord? And it was starting to kill me. You know what I mean? That wasn't good, but I still didn't know it. I didn't diagnose that. I didn't say that to myself. I thought, oh my gosh, I think I'm like thinking too much about this one subject. I didn't come to that conclusion. All I know is I felt this call to like, Dan, you need to go and find a way to give to other people more instead of always thinking and focusing on how to feed yourself, you know? So that I think is like the coolest thing to come out of it all. You know what I mean? I mean, once I did that, and I kind of went outside of myself and looked for God. And then once you do that, you're looking not just for God. Right on the heels of that, you're starting to think, okay, so how do I focus my energies to be at the service of that person and those people and that group, you know? And so that's what started. And like it led to me doing a lot of things that, you know, aren't cool to really talk about. And it's not like anything you want to like put on a podcast, but it was,
you'd be surprised,
cool, you know? Yeah. So, and not the least of that would be like all the kids that I have now, you know, man, once you like give yourself up to fatherhood, man, that's like total self-abnegation. You know what I mean? That's just like, it's not about me anymore. Not one tiny bit. It's all about them, these little people. They're the ones who are most important, you know? And I told Adam this later, that as a result, I think now, I mean, I don't know if we're making better music or if I'm a better musician or anything like that. All I know is now, I can be a better person, a better bandmate, a better friend to Adam and to everybody else. You know what I mean? It kind of clears my mind a little bit, and I can, you know, like we're doing things now, like Adam and I are collaborating on the music in Salvo now in ways that I didn't even know how to do back when I was in my 20s. In my 20s, it was always about, I have a song idea, and this song idea is going to be the greatest song idea. And now everyone needs to listen to me so I can tell you what to do and what to play, and here's how we're going to do it. And that would be like my big focus. You know what I mean? But now I'd like to think, Adam, I'm more chill. Don't you think?
I think the trust we have is just an extension of, you know, of just our bond and friendship and love, and that,
yeah,
and that it's a new adventure. This collaboration of trust. It's like, like just what we're doing musically with each other, and just the road trips and stuff. This is oh
my god,
we're taking some chances here that we haven't. That shouldn't be chances for some people. For us, you know, just we get kind of. It's different from what we've experienced before. And, it feels really good.
It does. It's healthier, I think. And I think it's, you know, leading to some pretty cool songs.
Yeah.
In their own right, you know.
Can I poke into that a little bit, Dan? You talk about giving back and going into the priesthood. Can I just safely presume it's the Catholic priesthood? Is that where?
Oh, yeah. Not like a Buddhist. Like, yeah.
I'm wondering, you're giving to people when you're creating music, when you're creating art, and you're on stage in front of hundreds of people, and you're giving. Yeah. I think that has just as much value.
Yes. Yeah. And the thing is that I didn't know that. I think I know that now. Now it's like I have more of a sense of responsibility. It's like when I'm thinking about songs, when I'm thinking about music, and even the way that we market ourselves, I'm more aware of what's good for the fans. What do our people want us to do for them that will make in any way their lives better? That's more on my mind than it ever was before. You know?
Okay, and you got that from the priesthood.
Yeah, right on. I mean, and again, I mean, I didn't become a priest, but I explored it and I went down that avenue, you know, and that just that journey helped me a lot, you know. So I'm like, I think like maybe at least 10% less of an asshole than I was before.
How many years between the end of Pain and the beginning of Salvo?
18 years.
Wow. 18 years. Now, Dan, in those 18 years, you tried your hand at authorship. You've published several books.
Yeah.
Is the first one a trilogy?
Trilogy.
Yeah. The very first one, a publishing house contacted me and they wanted me to write a book about joy, about what joy as a Christian means, you know. And I thought it was really cool. It was my chance to try and take a shot at being Thomas Merton, you know. And I even found myself kind of emulating him a little bit, to tell you the truth, when I was writing. And that was a good book to write. But it's a little bit niche, you know. I don't know how approachable it is for everybody. I tried to make it approachable, but anyway, after that, I'd had this idea for this sort of fantasy thriller trilogy story in mind. And so I just, like, whatever momentum I gained with that first book, I threw that all away because I really wanted to do these 3 books. And I'm so glad I did. I like those books a lot.
Look, let's just get something straight here. The reason he got locked in a slam in the first place was for sticking up a gas station to cover you guys.
That's right. So I don't want to hear any more of this small change shit.
We're putting the band back together.
You can make that live, breathe, and jump again. Murph and the Magic Tones?
We're on a mission from God.
So what, over those 18 years, who made the first phone call? Where did the seed for Salvo come?
We've kept in touch, and so we've worked on other stuff before, and we kept in touch through these years. But it was, you know, here and there, and I was about done with music and a lot of things, and then Dan called me and said, and I don't know who called who first and all this stuff, but I know I got a phone call that was we just kind of picked back up as we always have. Mm-hmm. And it said, I have these songs and they sound like Pain songs. They don't sound like Dan Lord songs or Guthrie songs or anybody else's songs. They sound like Pain songs. And I think we should do this again. And I said, okay, sure. Started calling everybody after that. Everybody's like, who do we know? So let's call, you know, it's like, it was, I'm not going to make a Blues Brothers reference, but it was on the lines of who have we played with and who do I know? And let's go make a record. And Dan had these wonderful songs. And then, and then we started collaborating right pretty much immediately around that time. And,
right.
And, that happened in 2018. And it was so fun because going back to Man or Astro Man, you know, the idea of having a Pain reunion or something was never going to happen. And I don't talk to those guys very often. And then I text the drummer for Man or Astro Man and said, hey, would you be interested in hosting us for a show? And they answered right back immediately. Yes. And then I thought we'd do one show. And just one show. We want to put out this album, you know, and like, do a show, you know, and and that's a different question. But
you started back collaborating in 2018. Off the Charts was published in 2019, so
right.
It seemed like it happened pretty quick then.
It did.
Yeah, well, that's what Adam was saying, that like when we first started talking, I know for me, live performances weren't as much on my mind. It was more like, Adam, man, I've got all these songs. I know for me, I've got all these songs in mind, and they just need to be out there. It's not right to just, keep them. We just wanted to get them out there. So mainly we were talking about what we wanted to do to record them. So that was the first thing. So I think that's why you get that first album pretty quick on the heels of our reunion.
And we've always made records, so.
Yeah.
18 years have passed since you've been in a band. How appropriate that one of the best songs on that album, in my opinion, is Anthem for the Middle-Aged Man.
Thanks.
That was the second song he sent me, and I just welled up with tears and laughter. Yeah, man, this couldn't be any more true. It's been quite a training montage for me the past couple of years, and I feel better than I ever have now. But learning how to do these songs again were a lot of fun, and picking up with Dan again, the way that Dan explains his writing, the way I interpret it with grunts and gestures and stuff. And, it felt so right, and it still does.
I want to know where the name came from. I want to steal a question out of Keith's playbook. Why Salvo?
It's a musical blast of cheer. That's not why, though. That's just how I define it. Because Dan asked me, and if it wasn't pain, what would it be? Well, you used the word Salvo one time. Let's call it that. Okay, I guess that's it. Is that how it goes?
Yeah,
I don't know.
I personally, I like the word. I like, the explosion connotation that it has. It also kind of sounds a little bit Catholic-y to me. That's on a personal note.
Musical blast of cheer. And I think if I say it enough times, it'll be subliminal and people will understand what it is.
Yeah, right on. And I don't know. We knew that. Well, obviously, what came up with was between us and the other people in the band too was like, well, why don't we just say Pain? Why can't we just be Pain? That's kind of the obvious question. Why not just continue being Pain? And we decided pretty quickly, since we knew that Pose was not going to be joining us, that it wouldn't be right to call it Pain. Pose was a founding member, and it just didn't seem like didn't seem right. So we needed a name, and They Might Be Giants was taken. So Salvo is what we went with.
The band formerly known as Pain. But what I thought of it was, when I think of pain, you think of like a salve you put on a pain.
Right.
That's where I went in my head.
Good on
that.
Right.
Right. Yes, nice. That too, actually. That's exactly what one of the 3 or 4 things that I had in my mind. So, can we keep this going while I put some kids to bed?
Sure. Yeah. So, Adam, can I ask you a question? During those 18 years when Dan was out, what were you doing in those 18 years? Well,
working with different people.
Okay.
And I played on the side with a country jam band called Wayne Mills in Tuscaloosa, and I did that. So I went further down that path, trying to revise how I thought country music should sound, and I failed. And so it came. We went to the showcases and stuff like that in Nashville. We toured, and then that ended in 2006, where I started playing with a friend, Heath Green, who's really he's calling me now actually. He's a cool like rock soul singer. Has a cool thing going, and did stuff with him. Then worked with Chris Porter in the Back Row Baptist, where I played lead electric ukulele in leather pants and a velvet jacket because that's what I chose to do. And long hair, yeah, I still had the pain hair, and I still look like Smurfette meets Robert Smith. And but honestly, I was just about done. I did my own thing called Adam. I still have a solo thing that I do, but when Dan called, everything felt right again, and it just I felt like I'm aged.
Talking about me.
Yeah, just now. I mean, just now. Yeah, I was giving my discography and bibliography of what I had for 18 years and who I played with on my second day of summer vacation, on my third day of summer vacation, and
Right.
and basically I just haven't stopped talking since you left the room, and it was one question. Yeah, I didn't know. I think it was a question. So you said 18 years. Gotcha. Here I go. And being healthy in attitude and physically, that I could do this now, and really enjoy this, and not take. I don't know if I take it much for granted, but I don't know. Youth has a way of doing that. I think for me anyway. Just I don't know. I got to live with a lot more fear as I got older, and now I just really accept things for what's happening as honestly as I can.
Yeah, you do, man. You do. That's true.
The Adam Guthrie solo album, the most recent one. I'm
all right.
That is a great album.
It's really,
thanks, guys.
really, really good. And I remember being taken by and I think I shared this with you. I was like, is that Rocket from the Crypt like notes that I'm hearing? Like it was just
I remember that now.
Way out of left field. I was like, damn, Adam is really reaching deep into like some inspiration here. Is very cool.
Love Rocket from the Crypt. I remember that conversation now. Thanks, Jeff.
Yeah, man.
Yeah, that plus Steve Earle songwriting, classes and stuff like that.
Yeah. I think I speak for all of the fans of the band when I say how pleased we all are that it wasn't just let's record off the charts and get it out there and publish it and play a gig. You've kept it up, and now we've got The Traveler.
One thing that's happened, a really unexpected cool development, is in addition to the full band experience, which is very, very pain-like, Adam and I discovered how much we love playing our songs with just an acoustic version. So Adam on acoustic guitar and me singing, very, very few, almost no bells and whistles, maybe a stand-up bass played by Adrian Marmolejo.
Let's give it a taste, Dan. Come on.
No. And so that's been kind of a parallel development to the full band Salvo stuff.
The Argonauts always intrigue me. They typified every man, happy unless something popped up that wasn't part of the plan. But there'd been no pretension on plans from the start. So why did they go? Were they stupid and slow? They were so cocky and sure at the start of the show. But when the sails hung flat and the Argo just sat and the rocks came crashing and the water ran low, when Hercules split and Jason admitted that he didn't know where to go, he said, you can whine until your mouth dries up. You can hang your head and wonder why. You can die or you can stand upright and never go down again.
Over this past summer, we recorded a little flock of Pain songs in acoustic form, right? And so that'll be available for streaming towards the end of this month.
Oh, wow.
And it's really cool. It's basically the Salvo Pain acoustic album. It's like 10 songs, all these Pain favorites. It's just acoustic guitar, me, stand-up bass, and there's some horn work there too by Jason Reed and Christopher Johnson. And it's just cool. It's really cool. So that's one thing. But we always said from the very beginning, Adam and I, that we didn't want to just rehash Pain stuff. We wanted to try and create new songs and try and find some new, blaze new trails and stuff. And so this next EP that we're going to release in February of 2024, thereabouts, I just am so happy with these songs. It's like an EP of songs, and they're just cool. They're rocking. They're fun. They feel like some of the best stuff that we've ever done. And it's got like a little backstory to it as well. And I'll let Adam talk about that. Q Fader.
Yeah, Q Fader. Yeah. I speaking of that, I sent the songs to drummer Will. Yeah. And he said, "So you guys re-recorded Pain songs?" I said, No. These are new songs. Said, "Oh, it's like Pain songs." Like, "Oh, all right." Well, so not trying to rehash anything, but we found something that I think strikes a chord. It might strike a chord with our Pain fans and stuff. We had a drummer that was
he was the Jabberjaw drummer. The drummer who drummed. I always want to say dram. Is dram past tense of drum?
He drammed it up. Yeah.
But he was the drummer on Jabberjaw. And he toured with us out west as well. And he's just one of the greatest dudes ever created by God. His name is Rusty Valentine. He eventually had to stop touring with us and move on to other things. But of course we never forgot him. And then this came up, and really Adam was inspired by the universe to track down Rusty Valentine and have him be the drummer on this thing. And it was the absolute right thing to do, because man, it was cool. It was so cool to have that particular assortment of musicians together with Rusty Valentine. And somehow it turned into this almost religious devotional project to Rusty Valentine. I mean, the name of the EP is Rusty Valentine, and it's got all this cool stuff on it that are references to Rusty Valentine. It's kind of weird, actually.
That's a great name.
Yeah,
he doesn't know what he did to really just endear us into for us to call him 25 years later. It's 25 years since the summer that he went on tour with us that we met Rusty, and he just
that was the last time that I saw his penis piercing.
Oh, really? The last time? Yeah.
Oh, all right then.
Yeah.
I haven't seen it since.
It's wonderful to see the two of you enjoy one another the way that you do. It's obviously a special friendship.
Man, it was so cool because Adam and I recently returned from that West Coast tour. We were just out west, going up the West Coast, playing just he and I, the acoustic act, the acoustic version of Salvo, right? And man, it was just so cool. It was to have my best friend next to me like that, and we're playing these shows again, and we both feel, at least mentally, like we're eternally young or something. What I mean? Even while our backs are killing us from driving and all that, and we're ancient and withered now. Our hearts were just completely filled up, and it was so cool. I can't tell you what a treasure it is to have a best friend like Adam.
Dan is a wonderful anxiety reliever on the road. I think I handle things pretty well, but it was still I left. I started the tour as a ball of anxiety, and by the end of it, felt like it was a thimble left of anxiety. It was a thimble of anxiety. I don't know why I said thimble. I tried to think of another word. I was going to say a smaller ball of anxiety. But
smaller ball.
Yeah,
you're a smaller ball.
It was wonderful to do this with my best friend and to go out and to reimagine these songs. By the way,
it's like the ultimate test of a song's worth. I mean, if you can reduce it to vocal melody and a guitar, and it still sounds pretty good, then you've got a pretty good song on your hands, you know?
Like what Ben Folds said, 7 chords and the truth. Well, that's what we did.
Yeah.
You know, that sums us up. You know?
I got to tell you, Dan, you're talking about influencing or impacting other people. I'm not familiar with your entire catalog, but the infection and chemistry that I get from you guys just talking and the fun, it's coming through.
Good. Oh, cool.
Yeah,
Good.
no, it really, really, and Jeff has seen me do enough of these things. I can't hide it. If I'm not interested, I'm not interested.
You're a terrible faker.
And it's had an impact on me just as the short time that we've spent together. It's been great.
Hey, good. And I'm glad. Cool.
So I guess that's the place where we sum it up, is to say you're not done. There's more music that you've recorded. Adam, it sounds like from some of our conversations, there's more music that is being written that will eventually be recorded. Like this train is gathering steam.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. I'm afraid so.
I mean, we had so much to give with the Traveler album that was a concept album. So there's a lot invested and involved with that record. It's 15 songs. It took 2.5 years to make, or 2 years, you know. So to come out of that and say, okay, we've got Recharged. Let's say Recharged. I'm giving too much away. It was hard. All right. It was hard coming out of COVID. It was hard. We went through a lot of changes and stuff. And that's our story. You didn't ask about. But I'm saying because of that, you know, so what do we want to do next? So we'll do this, let's do that, and going on tour and playing, just getting to connect the two of us and to play with our friends again. We've got a lot of material on the way, and we're excited to see what happens with it.
It's really exciting. I'm so glad that the story isn't over. Dan, you are genuinely one of my favorite lyricists in the world.
Yeah, it needs something else. Yeah. It's fun.
Yeah, you are a singular talent. Your ability to put narrative in song is really unique, and the perspective, again, I don't know that there's anybody else in the world that has captured some of those childhood moments the way you have. So I am forever grateful and forever a fan. So I appreciate you guys coming on the show tonight and sharing some stories, and we'll put it out there to the listening audience and the community. If you have the Jason Reed Memorial Toilet plaque,
yes, please
let us know.
We need that.
We need this.
Know. We're in search.
Hey, thank you.
Thank you guys
so much,
very
Keith.
much.
Thanks, Jeff. It's good to see you, buddy.
It's good to see you.
Wow, that was really, really enjoyable. Thanks, fellas.
Thank you, guys. I really appreciate it.
Thank you both.
Yeah. All right. Cool.
Many thanks to Dan and Adam for stopping by to share some of the stories behind their remarkable career. Check out the show notes section for links to everything mentioned in this episode.
This episode of Abandoned Albums was written and produced by Keith R. Higgins and Jeff Calhoun. The show was recorded at Thunder Love Studios, where it was engineered by
Daphne Miller,
with help from
John Thomas.
Abandoned Albums was edited by
Mike Hunt.
The songs you heard during this podcast were Handyman, Futz, Said Julie, Fight, Milk, Underwater, the Jabberjaw song, Anthem for the Middle-Aged Man, and the acoustic Upright. You can stream both the Pain and Salvo catalogs wherever you stream your favorite music. And be sure to check out Salvo's Bandcamp page for the release of the upcoming acoustic album. We've included links to everything in the show notes section. Please remember to support independent artists.
Original music by Mike Pellegrino.
Our theme song is All I Want by Pete Belasco. In the opening of the show, the songs you heard were Livin' in a Dream by Archangels, Think Too Hard by Sid Straw, and Stronger Than Love by James Carr.
If you like what you've heard, please be sure to subscribe and leave us a rating. It really does help. Thanks for listening.
Grazie. Bailey Leaf. Rob Janicki. Mike Pellegrino. Farina Vella. Ronnie Barnett. S.W. Loudon. Michael Janicki. Peyton Janicki. And our executive producer.
This is Thunderlove.
Abandoned Albums receives funding from Kramerica Industries. Protect what you value. Kramerica Industries, made in America by Americans, mostly, and headquartered in America. Kramerica.com.
And now, until we meet again next time, I remain as always obediently yours.
Abandoned Albums is a production of Paw Print Media.